right? Now there are some rules for declaring a variable in Python, right? So we will see this rules alone, and then we will take some break and then come back. Okay, so rules to declare a variable, right? So these are, I mean, it's like a fixed rules for defining a variable or declaring a variable in Python. Okay, so your variable name should start with an alphabet, or at the maximum, your variable name can have an underscore. Okay, followed by any number of alphabets, digits, and underscores, right? Which means your variable name should not start with a number. Okay, I cannot have a variable as 123 ABC. That will not be considered as a variable name. Okay, but ABC 123 is a accepted variable name. Okay, uh, okay. Just wait. I will come to Python on later on. We will first focus on the basics. Okay. Right. So variable names are going to be case sensitive, which means if you declare a variable called number, that is different from this number and this number, because this number is completely in small letters, whereas here the number n alone is in caps, and then here the entire word is in a capital letter. Okay, so these will be considered as different variables. So this number is different than this number and than this number. So you can define variable like number equal to 5, this number equal to 10, and this number equal to 15. So everything will be treated as different values. Okay, and variable name cannot be a reserved name or a keyword. Okay, already I just showed you some examples of the keywords. So for example, there are keywords like and, if, for, def, elif, and so on. So generally your keywords should not contain the values of that. So you cannot have print equal to 5, if equal to 17. Okay, so those things should be avoided. Okay, and variable name should not contain any special character other than underscore. So you should not define a variable called Raj at 123. Okay, so you cannot use any other special characters than underscore. Your variable name should not have and or percentage or dollar, exclamation. So no such special characters should be present in your variable name. These are the common rules that you should be aware of while declaring the variable. Okay, so let's just begin by creating some variables and using some integer operations. Okay, so arithmetic operations rather. So here, what we can do is, I think those who already have opened Jupyter Notebook, you can start typing in Jupyter itself. For others, you can use your Google Colab. Okay, it's going to be the same thing. So whatever I'm typing on Jupyter Notebook, first 2 lines or 3 lines alone, I will parallelly do it in Colab as well. But then on, I will only work with Jupyter. So you can keep continuing with Colab in case if your Anaconda has not yet installed. Okay, all right. So first thing is we have to start by initializing a variable. So we already saw how to declare a variable. So the syntax to be followed. I'm just giving you the syntax here. So the syntax is variable name equal to value. Okay, so this is the general syntax. So your left hand side should have the name of the variable you want to give, and right hand side should have the value that you want to assign it to this variable name. All right, so here let's start by declaring a variable called a and giving a value of 5 to this. So this is our first step. So I'm creating a variable and declaring the value of 5 to this, or assigning the value. So this equal to operator is called assigning. So this is called as variable assignment. Okay, and if you use this hash in your code, this is called as comment. Okay, so comment statements will not be executed or interpreted by the Python at all, because when it sees a hash symbol, Python will think that it is a comment. So comment is what? It's like a description. So you are just writing it for, let's say further you want to come back to the code and you want to see one more time what you have done. So to understand this, comments are helpful. And at the same time, when you are working on projects, right? Generally, when you work on teams in your organizations, you have a lot of people working on the code, right? So whatever code you have done, if you do the comments then and there, then anyone who sees your code will be able to understand them. Okay, that's the advantage of writing comments. I will come back to that again. Yeah. So just to repeat, we have just done a variable assignment. So I've given the variable name called A and assigned the value of pi to this variable. And I've also given a comment saying variable assignment. So after this hash, you can see that everything is in grayed out. So it means this is not going to run at all. Okay. Now, once you type a line of code, you can either choose to select this run icon, which is there in your Jupyter notebook, or you can use the shortcut shift and enter. Okay. And when you do that, you can see that there is a numbering appearing on this particular pane on your left side. So inside the bracket, it says 1, which means this is the first cell that you have run. Okay. So you can also keep on running lot of lines of code in the same cell itself. For example, A equal to 5, B equal to 10. Once you change a particular cell, you have to rerun that. Okay. Now you see that the number has increased to 2. Okay. I can just go on saying, okay, C equal to 15 and then run it. Okay. So I have created 3 variables called A, B, and C and given the value of 5, 10, and 15. Okay. Yeah, you want to have the heading in the italic form? Yes, you can do that. So you can just use the hash here. Okay, so 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if you use 5 hash, then this becomes a italics. Okay, you can go to this help tab and then you can go for looking at the notebook help. Okay, so this will give you the idea about what are all the different options available in this Jupyter notebooks. You can do it at your free time. For now, I'm not going to tell you regarding the help stuff, but you can also edit the shortcuts if you want later on, but you can do that later on, right? So after the class, when you have some free time, you can go and check out the help tab here, right? So this is called variable assignment. Okay, so the same thing in case if I want to do it in Colab, I'm just doing it quickly. So A equal to 5. I think you should have done this meanwhile, the others who are using Google Colab. So I can say A equal to 5, B equal to 10, and C equal to 50. Any 3 values, and the same thing, shift and enter. So you can see that you are getting a number called 1 on the left hand side. Okay, so we have assigned the variables called A, B, and C. So here A, B, and C are the variables, and 5, 10, 15 are the values associated with them. Okay, so here on you just keep on doing the same thing in Google Colab. I will stick on with the Jupyter. Okay, so now I have see, when I say A equal to 5, I already told you what happens in the backend, right? So what Python interprets is that, so the Python interpreter, again, another interesting point to note here is that you don't have to specify that the variable is an integer or a float or a string or whatever. So they are called as data types, right? So there are several data types which we are going to see in due course, like integer, float, and then complex numbers, and then strings, then lists, tuples, dictionaries. There are so many things in Python. So the beauty of having Python as a language is that you don't have to upfront give the data type. But in case I'm just giving you, don't run this particular command here. So for example, if you are writing a C program, how do you generally do this? You will say hash include. So you will use some some libraries and all, and then you should say something like int A equal to 5. So you should tell C programming, the compiler, that I'm going to declare a variable called A, which will be of data type an integer, and the value I'm going to assign is 5. So this is a syntax that is followed in your structured programming language like C or Java or any other thing, where you have to specify explicitly that the variable you are declaring is an integer. Whereas here in Python, you don't have to do that at all. So we will see how it is happening, right? And there is going to be multi-line comment also. I will talk about multi-line comment later on. For now, let's just stick on with this. Now, as I said, Python interpreter, right? So we already discussed about the Python's interpreter, and someone asked about what is PEP8 in the chat box. So see, PEP8 is, it is a standard set of instructions given to the Python developers to follow some specific way of writing the code. So the objective of using such IDEs is that it will give you all the required things immediately. That is, in the sense, for example, if you are defining a loop, okay, I will talk about this in detail later on. So for example, I'm going to define a for loop. So I'm saying for I in range 0, 11, I'm just going to say print I. So when I give after this colon, if you see, if I press enter, it is automatically giving some indentation from the tab. So this indentation is actually what is called as Peptide tail. Okay. So this is only for the person who asked the question. For others, I will come at a later point. Okay. Now let's yeah. So if you see here, I have a function called type. Okay. So this type, if I just I mean when I say type in this script, you can just see the change in the color. Okay. So which means this is a keyword. So that is another advantage of using Jupyter Notebook or IDEs like this, right? Because you can see that A is in black color only, right? So because it indicates that this is a user defined variable. Whereas when I just finish typing this type, automatically the color changes, right? So same thing happens even in your Google Colab. So, but the color here and there will be slightly different. So don't worry about the color combinations and other stuff. But generally, when you start using some inbuilt keywords, the color will be automatically differentiated from the actual variable. So this variable is user defined, whereas this is a keyword which is already available in our Python. Okay, for now I'm closing this. Yeah. So this is a function to indicate what is the data type of the variables that we have created. So if I say type of A, then you can see that Python understands that A is an integer data type. We haven't mentioned anywhere that A is an integer, but the Python's interpreter is intelligent enough to understand that the type of A is an integer. Right. So now you may also print the values. So if I say print of A, again when I type print, you just see the characters, right? So when I start typing PRIN, till these 4 characters, the color is not changing. At the moment I enter T, now print itself is called as a keyword, right? So it is a already available keyword in Python. So this is that's why the color change is happening. So if you say print of A, now what is going to happen? When you say print A, the value that is associated with A is going to get printed on your command line. Okay. So this is called as interactive mode. So I just you know executed this, and then I executed this immediately. I got some output, because here there is no output to display at all, right? So because I have only assigned the variable, I didn't give any statement to print. Whereas type of A is giving me some result saying that okay, the type of A is called integer. Then when I say print of A, it is printing the value called 5 and giving me the result.